I have 5 new ideas for 3 new commanders. They are Ixhel Scion of Atraxa, Thalia and the Gitrog Monster, and Thrun the Breaker of Silence. I'm going to share 3 of my opinions on how to play with these 3 commanders. First is Ixhel, why you shouldn't want to cast all of your opponent's spells. Thalia and the Gitrog Monster are a better stacks creature. How to keep Thrun the Breaker of Silence on the board.
Who's that? Commander Claw! Who's bad? Commander Claw!
The first card we have is Ixhel Scion of Atraxa. I'm going to say the Corruption Influence Precon deck was constructed with the wrong strategy. However, the strategy in Ixhel's Scion of Atraxa's ability is a popular effect that can make lots of sales, like as in card sales. If you don't know what she does, I will sum it up for you. She is a flying toxic creature that can cast your opponent's cards. Literally, you are playing with a multicolored hypnotic specter-like creature for all those seasoned MTG players. After playing with the precon, I always felt like I was in limbo. Do I want to kill my opponents with poison counters or chase the ability allowing me to cast their card off the top of their library when I exile it? I felt like a rabbit with the carrot dangling in front of it. Somehow I got this intervention that told me to stop. Ixhel has black in its color, and you never win when you're always trying to cast your opponent's cards, so just do the opposite. The opposite is remove cards from the player's library, preferably your opponent's. If you remove key cards from player's library, you eliminate all those threats, potential threats, and you decrease the probability of them drawing removal spells or answers to you or your opponents, giving you a better chance to win in the game. So let's say, for example, an opponent has 7 to 12 type of removals, maybe 4 different board wipes, or maybe even 1 to 2 board wipes. If you go into that player's library and eliminate 1 or 2 of those board wipes, you already know that they cannot answer anything that's on the board, especially your commander, possibly. So in hindsight, after you are exiling or removing cards from your opponent's library, if you use Ixhel's ability, you're actually eliminating more cards from their library, just when you reach its threshold for its 3 poison counters. So first card we have that's going to remove cards from player's library is Jester's Cap. For 4 mana, it's an artifact. You tap 2, search target player's library for 3 cards. You're going to be looking for win cons, removals, or anything that's going to disrupt your game plan. The next card we have is Memoricide. You literally name a non-land card and you search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of this card with that name and exile it. This is perfect because it's the commander format where you only have 1 of each card. However, if someone's playing Dragon's Approach, you're going to say Dragon's Approach. If you don't know what Dragon's Approach is, I'll show you on the video. But anyway, you're going to eliminate all those cards with that same name. Next up, we have is Praetor's Grasp. For 3 mana, you search target opponent's library for a card and exile it face down. Then that player shuffle his or her library. You may look at that and play that card as long as it remains exiled. So this card, you're looking for something that's going to benefit you. Okay? You. If you love green stompy creatures, then Thrun, the Breaker of Silence, is the perfect commander for you. The main reason why he's almost invincible is because he can't be countered and can't be targeted by non-green spells by your opponents. This means it eliminates Swords to Plowshares, Terror, or even Assassin's Trophy. But he will fall victim to cards with sacrifice effects, non-combat damage, or combat damage on another player's turn, or board wipes. Or, in other words, when you block. That's still a lot after the hype. So let's take the scenario for combat damage on another player's turn, aka when you block with him. The solution is just to regenerate him. After playing thousands of games of Commander, keeping your commander on the battlefield 1 extra turn is the difference in winning and losing games. So our second idea is instant regeneration. I'm suggesting these 2 instant spells that offer regeneration because your opponents won't see it coming. The element of surprise. This is what makes the game of Magic great anyway. That 1 card in your hand, in your opponent's opinion, could be just a fog. However, these regeneration spells offer a different outlook and can possibly prevent non-combat damage from spells or whenever you block with Thrun. The 2 spells are Seedling Charm. For 1 green mana, it's an instant that gives you options. First, return target creature enchantment to owner's hand. Or regenerate target green creature. or target creature gains trample until end of turn. You won't need trample for Thrun because he has it. Then you will be able to regenerate him because he's green. Then if you do have an enchantment on him, probably some kind of buff, and he somehow is going to get removed, you can save that enchantment by returning it to your hand. The next card we have is Resuscitate. For 1 colors and a green, it's another instant. It says until end of turn, each creature you control gains tap 1 mana, regenerate this creature. So not only will it save Thrun, it can save other creatures on your board, maintaining your board state. So if you want to block with a bunch of creatures, you can resuscitate all of them. Now, enchantments are powerful because they're sometimes repeatable sources of effects. These 2 cards highlight the repeatable effects. If your opponents can't remove enchantments, they're going to be in a world of trouble. So we have Molting Skin and Broken Fall. They are literally the same card, so I only have to read it one time. It's an enchantment that says, return Molting Skin or Broken Fall to its owner's hand, regenerate target creature. So that way, you can regenerate Thrun as many times as possible as you cast Molting Skin, as long as it's on the battlefield. And if an opponent wants to waste a removal spell getting rid of it, let them do it. But you actually have an answer. You can actually regenerate target creature, returning Molting Skin to its hand without ever losing it to removal. I have to admit, I enjoy Thalia and Gitrog Monster. After proxying with TNG, that's what I'm going to call them, you just get addicted playing with them because it's a multifaceted card engine, right? It does what? The first thing it does is play extra lands. Second thing it does is play stacks. And third, it's card draw. It gives you the ability to just cycle all these effects. And it's just a trigger here, a trigger there, and so on. It's just fun. But you have to keep Thalia and the Gitrog Monster, TNG, on the battlefield at all costs. So our second to last strategy is stack strategy. So what is really good is that the stack strategy, and if you don't know what that is, that's just preventing mostly your opponents from playing spells or using abilities. And since TNG have black in their color, I decided to add Lethal Vapors to the proxy deck, and oh my gosh, did it work. Your opponents are put into a political gauntlet. Their creatures die if they enter the battlefield, and someone has to decide if they want to pay the 3 mana tax to destroy Lethal Vapors, which will in turn benefit everybody. So what opponent wants to do that? And whenever they do, they will cast a creature that same turn, and that creature will enter the battlefield because Thalia and Gitrog are on the battlefield, and his ability says the creatures come in tapped. Overall, this combo just slows down your opponents from creating attackers, blockers, or even these go-wide strategies. Next card we have is Martyr's Bond. It's another stacks card, and is highly effective with the third ability from TNG. TNG says, whenever TNG attack, sacrifice a creature or land, draw a card. Martyr's Bond makes each opponent sacrifice a non-land permanent that shares a card type. Unfortunately, you can only sacrifice a creature to TNG in order to trigger Martyr's Bond. However, you can sacrifice an enchantment creature, which counts as 2 types. This will make your opponent sack both an enchantment and a creature. That is literally a 2-for-1. All right, our final idea for these new commanders is instant reanimate spells. It's fairly easy for your opponents to remove enchantments, and they feel confident once it's gone. So don't let them have that satisfaction. Here are 2 spells at instant speed that can bring back these enchantments and help you maintain that game-winning current board state for at least an extra turn. First card we have is Second Sunrise. It's an instant for 3 mana. Each player returns to play all artifacts, creature, enchantment, and or land cards that were put into his or her graveyard from play this turn. So with this card, you're just looking to bring back those enchantments that got destroyed. Martyr's Bond or Lethal Vapor or anything else that's on the Gitrog that's helping you win the game. Finally, we have the card Brought Back for 2 white mana. It's an instant. Choose up to 2 target permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped. Well, Lethal Vapors works even if it's tapped, or Martyr's Bond works even if it's tapped. So that's not a big deal, and it's only 2 white mana. Thanks for watching the video for 5 ideas for 3 new popular commanders. If you disagree or agree with any of the gameplay ideas that I brought to you, feel free to leave a comment below. And also hit the like button so make sure the algorithm shares it with other people. Otherwise, the 2 videos on the screen are suggestions from YouTube saying that you should watch, and click those.